Good evening, folks. Today's second episode of the new series, Something Sucks, is going to be dealing with the all-important, using quotation marks, U.S. Postal Service. Screw those people and screw the horse they rode in on, literally. But before I get going, I would like to talk about today's sponsor. You may ask, why do we have a sponsor? Because I chose to sponsor something. I'm not getting endorsed for this. I just figured I would sponsor because this stuff is some of the most delectable crap I've ever had in my life. This is gelatelli, gelato, Southern style roasted pecan, made specifically for the Lidl Corporation. And I'm gonna tell you right now, okay? I bought this. This was buy one get one free, BOGO as the soccer moms call it. Man, if you like butter pecan ice cream, this takes it to another level. Kobe. All right. So, go out and get yourself some Southern style pecan, caramel, dulce leche, whatever the crap it is. All I know is it's phenomenal. It's some of the best ice cream, or gelato, I should say, I have ever had. But more importantly, what we're doing today is we're going to discuss the USPS, those peon, pissant, stupid, quasi-federal employees. So, we need to understand a little bit of framework here, because they're not exactly federal employees. It's considered what is an independent agency, much like Amtrak or the CIA or the EPA or that godforsaken Federal Reserve, that central bank that is one day going to implode and destroy us all. But anyway, they are a independent agency of the executive branch of the federal government. Congress, because of the postal clause, which really, all the postal clause in the Constitution really says is Congress may establish postal roads and postal offices. It doesn't say we need to keep supporting this stupid enterprise, this infrastructure that just completely loses billions of dollars every year. I mean, come on, people. Like, come on. This is so stupid, okay? But we keep just kicking that can on down the road because that's what the federal government does. You know what we need? We need in this country something that is like we have misdemeanors and felonies, and everything gets reduced down to misdemeanors. We need something that's higher than a felony, okay, so that we can reduce stuff down to felonies. Likewise, we need something that is above the federal government. And all they do is they sit there and they're like, no, you know. They don't really have any, they don't create anything, they don't budget anything. All they do is tell the federal government when they're stupid, okay? Controlling budgets and all that stuff. If you bring $1,000 in every week and you spend $4,700 every week, you're a moron. And that wouldn't work in any other household in America, but with the federal government, it's fine. And this stupid independent agency, the USPS, is just prima facie evidence, numero public enemy number one. Because they just lose 12, 9, 14, 9, 6, 8 billions of dollars every year, and we keep just throwing them cash loads of money. So I don't want to hear about Congress giving them the apportioned power to be what they are. They don't have to do it, okay? We could just say, hey, it's all, the well is dried up. All you blue-gray dorks can head to the house, the unemployment line, because you're out of here, all right? We're done walking letters to people's houses. And that brings me to what brought this and precipitated this. I got to thinking about a week and a half ago, and I said, you know, what do I really need mail for? Do I really need mail anymore? I mean, is there anything that comes to this house that's not Amazon, FedEx, or UPS, private entities that actually can, you know, make $1 and do things efficiently instead of this government crap? I'm like, I don't think I really need mail anymore, because all it is flyers that I don't even look at. You know, people that haven't lived here in 7 years still getting mail. Like, how stupid of a system do you have that these retards are still getting mail? And I've been here for, you know, years and years, and there's like 7 or 8 people that get mail here. I don't know who they are, okay? Because it's not the people I bought the house from, you know? I mean, that's a really dumb independent agency, if you ask me. UPS would never allow for that. So I thought to myself, do I really need a mailbox? I don't think I do. So I took it out of the ground today, and I tossed it behind my shop. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get some fill dirt. I'm going to put that square hole back into the earth, all right? And it's just going to be terra firma. I currently don't have a doorbell in this house, and now I don't have a mailbox. I'm slowly getting rid of things that I just don't need. It's good stuff. And we'll see what happens. I'm sure that the goofball that drives the right-hand drive Buick LeSabre that does mail out in these parts, pulls up. I don't think it's right-hand drive. I think he just drives with like his hand on the wheel and like his brake or his foot across the floor. That seems safe. He's going to be like, what? Huh? What? But then the other side of him be like, my job just got easier. Okay, that's fine. But for the CCA, the whatever they're called, something carrier, the people who actually go out and deliver the mail, it might have gotten easier for them. But it's when all that mail gets circulated back to those stupid mail sorting places. That's where the log jam begins, because somebody's going to have to deal with that. Somebody's going to be like, what happened here that this dude isn't accepting mail anymore? Come on over. Send the postmaster to the crib and we'll discuss it out on the porch. I'll be like Kramer. Yes. Season 9, episode 5. Great episode. Kramer decides he doesn't want mail anymore. And that kind of got me thinking about this. And I was like, Kramer had a point. Kramer had a valid point, okay? And so we're going to go over a few things with the Postal Service in our Something Sucks series, episode deuce. All right, so the first thing we need to think about is the fact that there's about 653,000 employees at this place. And, it's almost like, if you've ever flown or dealt with any kind of mass transportation whereby the TSA is involved, God, we should put like the TSA and pit them in a death battle, like gladiator style, right? Like they get like war hammers and scythes and stuff, and they just got to pummel each other and beat each other to death. I don't think anybody died. I think they're too stupid to do it, because TSA is trying to be as inept as the post office has proven to be over the years. 500,000 employees, and nothing gets done efficiently. What totally precipitated this was the fact that I was thinking about the fact that I went out the mailbox the other day, or I used to have a mailbox, and I get out there and I was thinking to myself, man, I remember back in November, I was waiting on something that was coming from the state of Illinois, and it took about 5 weeks to get that letter in the mail. And I'm thinking to myself, it used to take like 2, maybe 3 days to mail something across town or whatever, or even, a state or two away. Within a few days it would be there. And that was quite remarkable, the fact that even happened, because you would think mail would get lost like all the time, kind of like luggage at an airport. But nevertheless, it's snail mail, to the nth degree nowadays, because it took like 5 weeks to get them a call, and I'm like, hey, anytime this, I might die soon. Like I might have to, sell the house and move to another place. Like, is it going to come here? Like, before I do, I might not always be here. Maybe in 2 years, this mail's still waiting to get here, and I'm like, I gotta go, right? So kind of dumb. And I don't see any point why we should have an agency that takes 5 weeks to deliver a piece of paper, okay? So that's kind of what got this ball rolling, and this is where we're at. They don't pay property tax. They don't pay sales tax. You write them a parking ticket, they don't they don't exist. They just don't pay it. They don't have license plates. They're almost like not motor vehicles in the eyes of the law. It's kind of weird the way that they just kind of think of themselves as just completely, above the law and whatnot. And, before, what was it, like 2012 or something, like it was Obama's years or whatever, they had the thing where they started closing all of them, not all of them, but a significant portion. Because the problem with the post office, or one of them, I should say, is the fact that you'll have like a mile in between post offices. It's like every neighborhood gets their own individual post office. And this is the problem with government. We just give them money and they just do with it. Well, we need another post office. Oh, you think? Yeah. Let's build 2. Hey, what do you think about building a break room in the back of the, just quit building post offices. I want them all to shut down. I want everybody to be unemployed. Okay. That's what it should be. Okay. So we're sitting now at like 32,000 post offices. And that's after, I believe, all the ones were shut down that weren't necessary. But it's kind of like, I live near a small city that I has two ladies that ride around in little Jeeps, like Wrangler Jeeps, and they do parking enforcement. And I don't know what they make, but I'm going to guess, we'll just say on the low end, all right, that they make $26,000 a year, okay? I know for a fact that because it's public record, that a buddy of mine was telling me that they, brought in like $14,000 or $12,000 or whatever it was. And that doesn't even, so what they're bringing in by going around writing parking tickets in this small little area doesn't even cover half of one of their salaries. Like, that's the logic by which we have employed this whole, force of 653,000 people in 31,000, post offices. And they don't get rid of anybody. They don't fire anybody. They basically just wait for retirements and attrition and people that just naturally quit and stuff like that. That's not a way to kind of thin the herd, Get rid of people, because I can only imagine how many people are not necessary and are just hanging on, right? So you have that component of it. They lease 23,000 buildings, okay? And they own almost 9,000 buildings. Why are you leasing anything like that? You're the federal government. If you really want to spend some money, own some stuff. At least then you don't have to pay yourself, tax. It's just dumb. And I realize what I just said, they don't pay the taxes, but I mean, in any situation almost, you would be hard pressed to find situations where it would be smarter to lease property than own property. I mean, that's not usually how that works. It's usually smarter to own something because, obviously you're paying yourself in a sense. But what we have here is the USO, the Universal Service Obligation. And what this is a part and parcel, no pun intended, of the post office by which they have to serve, they're kind of commanded and all to serve everybody in the United States, okay? So that means that me living in a semi-urban area, no problem. All right, you got, you had a mailbox up until today, you drive by and stick something in there, good enough. But there are people, you got to realize, that live in Montana in the middle of nowhere, or Idaho or Wyoming. Some of these states that are so vastly rural that it takes an hour, to get to their residence, and you got to deliver one package. But by the USO, you've got to be able to deliver to all those people. I say, no, you don't. I say those people, if they want to go live, what's his name? Johnson. What did Robert Redford play? Jake Johnson? I can't remember what it is. Jack Johnson's a boxer. I can't remember his name. But, he was that, kind of a Daniel Boone character, just kind of lived out in the wilderness and wore pelts and crap. But if you want to be that guy, great. You don't get mail, okay? So when you come to the Piggly Wiggly once a month to get your supplies, as it were, you can pick up your mail at your post office box, because we ain't delivering that crap out there, because that's completely cuts into our budget and screws everything up. And that's why we owe $9 billion as a deficit this year. And that's not cool. So I don't agree with the USO. If you're not within, vague range of being deliverable, then you don't get mail. Okay, that's just how that has to be. All right. So whenever I go to the USPS, which is very rarely, you go into a UPS store and you think to yourself, you're like tossing the package behind your back. Giddy up. You need a receipt? I don't need a receipt. Y'all get it there. You like trust. You have this overwhelming confidence that, hey, my package is coming in the mail and it's going to get where it needs to go. And I ain't got no fret about it one day. Okay. You see the igloo in my mouth when I be grinning? Like, you don't care, right? But you go into a post office and it's like, you're walking into Silent Hill, you're just like, everything's foggy and weird and old. And the door handles, they haven't been washed. I can only imagine the fecal content germ nastiness that's on those metal door handles, because there's no way that they've been washed in the last 74 years. It's just gross. And so then you walk in, and is there confidence with your package? No, you're thinking to yourself, bye-bye, forlorn package, because I will never see you again, and neither will the receiver, the intended receiver of this, little package that I have so eloquently put together. Because, a little aside, when I mail a package, it's like awesome. Like, people look at it and they're like, damn, like, you really went over. I can't wrap a Christmas present to save my life. And I don't wrap Christmas presents for that reason because A, I suck at it, and B, to me, it's just a complete ecological waste of paper. You know, you put paper on, sort of rip it open 2 seconds later and just throw it in the trash. That's a complete wasteful to me. So I don't wrap anything. I just stick it in the bag and here, open it up. But anyway, when I mail a package, however, I am very meticulous and thorough. I make sure that the return address and the other is everywhere it needs to be, and everything's cool, clear, calm, and collected, so that it hopefully has the best chance of getting sent off to where it needs to be. Okay. Also, another aside, I on occasion, like if I have some boxes laid around, I will just randomly mail food leftovers, like perishable food, to people across the U.S. And I put a return address. I've never once gotten anything back, but I'm just waiting, like somebody be like, "Hey, you mailed some beef stroganoff and some green beans to my house." But I guess nobody takes the time to. I just thought it would be funny that somebody would one day say something, but so far I'm mailing perishable food. And let me say, when they ask me, you got any liquids, flammables, or what was it, hazmat? You got anything liquid, flammable, or hazardous material? Yeah, I mail a lot of used motor oil and butane and vats of AIDS patient blood. Like, what would I be mailing? But I will say this. The answer is always no, because if I do decide to mail some motor oil to somebody, or, a bag of urine, whatever somebody might need across the country, I'm game for shipping it. It's not important, okay? Unless you're x-raying this stuff, you're not going to know anyway. So, yeah, those rules don't apply to me. But nevertheless, back to what we were saying. My confidence in mailing a package at the USPS is at an all-time low just about every time I go in there. I will say this. I do like the fact that, although they're way too big, I can't imagine that all those P.O. boxes are sold. But, I like the fact that you can go in a post office in just about any state, at least around here, any city or whatever, and they're all kind of the same. They're not really extravagant. They're pretty bare bones, like to business. They're the way schools should be built. You go in a school nowadays and you're like, why are these halls 36 feet wide? Like, what is the point of this? It's just all this wasted space, and everything's got to be architecturally pretty. Bitch, that should be a concrete block wall. Spend the money on the teachers and the aides, not what the structural being looks like. It's just dumb what they spend money on these days. And we got to make it look pretty. No, make it just last, okay? That's all I need you to do, okay? In fact, one of the only things I like about, or not that I like, but that I can appreciate about the USPS is the fact that they've not really torn these buildings down and built some Taj Mahal that we get to go into. They're pretty much the same as, I went in when I was a kid when my mom needed to mail a package or whatever. But the difference between my mom mailing a package in 1982 and me doing one circa 2020, 2022, right, is this, okay? She had choices that were probably 3, okay? They've got so many different types of mail. I don't even understand. Okay, listen to this. Let's say I make a package and it's just, 4 inches tall and, 10 inches wide and 8 inches, whatever, okay? And I take it in there and it weighs, 2 pounds, okay? It's got like a lifetime supply of bubble yum or something, right? Hubba Bubba, as it were. Bubblicious, perhaps. Dentine, it's not important what it is. But, okay, so you go in there and you have these choices, okay? You have priority mail express, priority mail, first class mail, first class package service retail, USPS retail ground, media mail, library mail, marketing mail, periodicals, flats, parcels, parcel select, USPS local, bound printed matter, parcel return service. Like, none of this I am college educated, okay? I have most of a master's degree, and I cannot understand for the life of me what the differences are between these stupid things, right? First of all, is priority or first class like higher? I don't even know, and I've mailed things my whole adult life. It is media mail. I remember when that came out because back in the day I was selling stuff on eBay when it came out, and it seems like those kind of jive with one another. And pretty much everything I mailed was media mail because it was always cheaper, Is this a priority express for $5.82 or media mail for 13 cents? I'm like, this is media mail? This is a CD in there. Meanwhile, I'm mailing like meatloaf to somebody in Utah. But nevertheless, again, that's beside the point, okay? Library mail, what is that? And let me tell you this, okay? Librarians don't need to make what they make. You know, library science is one of, statistically, across the board, one of the highest paid salaries in municipal governments and whatnot. Why? The Dewey Decimal System. All this is a bunch of lonely cat bitches that just like to read books. Okay, all you need to do to be able to be a librarian, okay, is read a card catalog system, maybe screw around with some Laserfish if you're old school, and recommend a book to somebody when they come in and be like, hey, what do you think I should read? You don't. You just need to read. That's all you do. And you ain't got nothing to do all day, so you got all day to read. Like that. It's insane that like at a city of 120,000 people, you know, you got some librarian making, 110 grand. Like what in the hell is she doing to vie for that amount of money? You know, I think librarians should make about $11,000 a year, full time, 40 hours a week. But nevertheless, moving on. Okay, postage right now is at like 58 cents. If you got all these different things, right, and you can't figure out what's what, it really doesn't need to be 58 cents. It needs to be like $417 to keep your ass out of the red for owing all this damn money and stuff. And then when you go in there, so let's say that I'm gonna mail 7 nesting dolls, those little Russian dolls that get bigger. I'm going to mail those to someone in Puerto Rico or Guam. I'm going to mail it to someone in Guam. When I go in there, I've got all these options, most of which I don't even understand what they are. So if I decide to get a certificate of mailing, additional copy of Form 3817, it's $1.65. I could add certified mail restricted delivery for $9.75. I could then get an adult signature required, which is another $9.75. I could collect on delivery fee for, let's say, $15 for $8.60. Okay, I could get insurance up to $100 because that's probably what a nesting doll's worth. $3.85. And I wonder if there's ever been any insurance fraud. You mail something, you say you never got it, and you claim, hey man, that was a $600 thing. You paid $4 for insurance, and they pay you back $600. Is that how that works? Seems like that would be a pretty easy way to scam the government. Not that they would even care, because they probably don't keep track of crap like that. But you got insurance, you got you got insurance restricted delivery for $5.85. Then you could get a return receipt for $3.05. Like, what are these arbitrary and capricious numbers? Where are they coming? $3? Well, can you just round stuff off to the nearest dime or quarter or something? Dang! Signature confirmation services. Parcel select lightweight, $2.90. Registered mail declared value of $100. Like I said, is $16.50. Special handling fragile. Okay. $12.15. Why don't we assume that every piece of mail is fragile? And then we don't have to charge anybody. Just be like, let me just make sure this doesn't fall, because it could be a glass vase or a Ming vase or a Carta. What is it? What are those eggs? Fabergé egg. It could be a Fabergé egg. You don't want to drop those. They got, you pop them open. They got little, the Queen's little caisson in it or something. Tracking free. You get free tracking. Well, that's nice. You have to pay for tracking back in the day, and now they've made it. But the point is, you add all this crap, none of which you understand what any of it means. And, next thing you're sitting on like a $400 package, you might as well fill up your tank and just drive the crap to Guam, right? I mean, it's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. And here's another thing, okay? All right, we talk about what they wear, okay? Their little uniforms. Dude, if you go back through... It's almost like the military. The military has changed camo schemes and all this stuff so many different times, and they do all these studies, or putting together a group to decide what kind of new camo we need. How about the fact that if your old camo worked and people didn't see you because it concealed you, we'll just stay with that, okay? Until they change the background that we're trying to blend into, let's just keep the same camo, okay? And they seem to follow the same thing. If you look back through the history of all the things that they've worn, from skirts to coats to jackets to hats to ball caps to trucker hats to bandana. I mean, they've got all this stuff. But the only thing that really stands out, and it's stupid they have all that stuff, okay? Because they should be like, hey, buy yourself some blue jeans, get a solid blue color or gray color shirt. That's your uniform, okay? Well, everybody knows you're a dang postal worker because you got that stupid looking truck and everything. All right, well, none of that needs to be a uniform, because I can't imagine the altering and the sewing and the requisitions and all that go on for, I need a new skirt and I need a new, and then nobody tucks their stuff in. Like, all these fat people, whatever the reason is. I don't care if you're fat or not. If you choose a career where you got to wear a uniform, tuck your shirt in, okay? Quit looking crappy like that. But they all like leave their stuff untucked. I don't know if that's a thing or if that's what they mean to do, but nevertheless, they do. But here's the thing, okay? Here's what gets me, all right? Pith helmets. You remember when they wore pith helmets? I used to see them in the 80s. As a kid, they would do that. Man, pith helmets? You're not on a safari. We're not looking at, Jaguars on the back of a Land Rover 110. You're not searching for Harry and the Hendersons. You ain't in Jumanji, right? You ain't Harry Truman, who Rodney Dangerfield clearly stated back to school was a pussy, all right? So get the pith helmet off your head. You look ridiculous. Just get a boonie cap. Get a sombrero for that. The pith helmets. It just looks so dumb. It has nothing to do with delivery. You walking around with your little man satchel, and you're pushing that little cart maybe. Remember the carts? It's just weird, the stuff they came up with. And I can only imagine, the supervisors and the people that run this agency that just sit back and be like, how can we waste more of the people's money and not care? Ha, 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 ha. Hand me that cigar. And they're just they got their cigars and actually not even cigars, they're like $40 bills, right? Right. And they're just, they just don't care. Just like every other government entity or independent agency, there's just so much waste. It's ridiculous. And the last thing I want to talk about is the vehicles, because the Grumman, I guess, they used to make fighter jets and tanks and crap, pretty revered company. Then they go into bed with GMC in 84 when they decide to replace the postal Jeep, which was the DJ, it was a dispatch Jeep, the DJ, okay? So what is their thing? Through rain, nor snow, nor hail, nor sleet, nor barbiturates, nor lava, or whatever the crap they go through, right? They can go through any of it, okay? But what do they leave out? They leave out the fact that they don't have a front axle on their Jeep. Why did Jeep not go, so y'all just want us to provide you with all these postal Jeeps, but you don't want four-wheel drive when you clearly are going to be going through, year-round weather and whatnot. That just seems dumb. And when they replaced the postal Jeeps, which worked great, by the way, got good mileage, could surprisingly go wherever they want with chains or whatever, and then they replace it with this stupid S10 Blazer-looking crap that's got riveted aluminum panels on it, still somehow manages to weigh 3,000 pounds. Just a ridiculous looking vehicle. Well, those things were called LLVs, right? Long life vehicles. And they made a contract from 84 to 97 or some crap that this is when they'll expire. Well, here we are in 2022 and they just gave the contract to Oshkosh a year ago. But now there's this holdup because they're going to get I think the Grumman's got 9 miles to the gallon because they had the Iron Duke 2.5 in most of them, that crappy 4-cylinder Chevy that just is a complete bomb abortion of a motor. And then they build them in the reservoir for the windshield wiper fluid leaks onto the fuse panel, so half of them catch on fire and burn up. It's just one disaster after another. I actually knew a guy who retired from the Postal Service. I don't want to tell you what he ended up making. And the dude retired 20 years ago. It was insane what they paid this dude, right? But he was talking about how unreliable those things were. And I think they spent $3,000 a year per vehicle. And they ordered 140,000 of them. I mean, there was just tons of them and all. I just feel like there could have been a better option. Why not stick with Jeep and just make a CJ8 version, with a bigger back seat or something, if it works, just roll with it. But Oshkosh finally gets the nod. They win the bid and they're going to build this thing, but it only gets 14 miles to the gallon because it's enormous. It's just below being a heavy duty truck. And you ought to see this thing. It's got this duckbill nose and this windshield that's 17 feet tall. It's just so stupid. And they haven't even made them because now, the Biden administration is up in arms because they're not, he decreed that every vehicle that goes into the federal fleets will be electric, and this thing is not anywhere near electric, and just wastes tons of gas, like the Grumman that it will replace. But nevertheless, it's 2022. That thing ran out in 94, 95, 7, somewhere around in there, and we should have replaced it, and we didn't, okay? And we're still sitting here waiting for something to come along, and it's crazy. I mean, it goes without saying that nothing the government will ever do is good enough, okay? You don't have to read all of John Stossel's books, although I implore you to, because they're hilarious, and it will piss you off. If you care anything about this country, it will piss you off. But nevertheless, you don't have to, go through, comb through his books and all to understand, how much waste there is going on. And I think that, going back to the Seinfeld episode, Newman said it best, when you control the mail, you control information. And as far as I'm concerned, they won't be controlling my information much longer, because as I peer out my front glass, I don't have anywhere for them to put it. Good evening. Giddy up.